Well, the damage bill from this flood crisis has been estimated at $10 billion, but the economic impact is likely to be even greater. Queensland produces about a quarter of the nation's fruit and vegetable crop and is a major exporter of meat, sugar and grain. Damage to the state's agriculture sector means shoppers will face critical shortages and higher prices for many food items. Tanya Nolan reports.
It's considered some of the most fertile farmland in the world. Now the area known as the salad bowl resembles more of a soup.
We've never seen anything like this before. Not only the production loss, not only the infrastructure loss on farm, but some of the images, the photos we've seen to the road and rail network are just unbelievable.
The damage wrought here gives some hint of the total hit taken by Queensland's $2 billion agriculture industry, and the reverberations are being felt further afield. The state supplies nearly a third of the nation's fruit and vegetables.
Sydney's Flemington markets, small greengrocers, independent supermarkets, large hotel chains are among the thousands of buyers who come here each morning to source some of the country's best produce. In fact, more tonnes of fruit and vegetables move through this market than any other in the southern hemisphere. And it's at this point of the food chain that supply shortages are starting to bite.
Few know more about the fluctuations in this market than Bill Chalk, who's been selling produce here for more than 40 years.
Tomatoes, I would suggest, will get extremely dear. They will go to something like possibly $4.50 a kilo wholesale. Lettuce, I'm not 100% up on lettuce, but I've noticed there is no lettuce surrounding us at the moment in the market, so that is going to get very dear. And people might have to look for alternatives like shredded cabbage or, you know, when you do a salad, there's a lot of way to do things. I do urge the public to look at alternatives and not just not buy.
Yes, lucky customer here!
Banana prices are on the rise and mangoes and melons are already fetching a premium. But one of the nation's largest fruit and vegetable retailers says many of the increases should be temporary.
I think, where people see the retail price of tomatoes, so normal field-grown tomatoes are at the moment is where it's going to sit, but it will then actually fall away. So what you'll actually see is as the volumes start to increase out of the southern growing regions and more product becomes available, those prices will actually start to go down. Things like bananas, you might see a more short-term impact in terms of some cost increase going across the consumer in terms of price, but then again, once that's been recovered and we move into a more stable environment, there hasn't been significant crop loss. You should see bananas, as they're being picked and transported down, actually return to a normal level.
The peak national body for Australia's food and grocery sector says transport problems are exacerbating price rises and could affect other produce.
There's also potentially some impact on beef and veal prices. At the moment, a lot of the graziers in Queensland can't move their cows, their beef, to abattoirs due to the floods. So there's a bit of a delay issue here, and that could cause a little bit of an increase in price for beef and veal products in supermarkets as well.
The logistical problems are delivering another cruel blow. Queensland's exporters are missing out on record prices for some commodities, but there is a glimmer of hope.
We're very optimistic that prices will hold up quite strongly as we go through this year. As we spoke about earlier, those very tight global balances in many of the crops we produce in Australia. Cotton and sugar is the two classic examples, given they're produced quite heavily in Queensland. So we expect those prices to hold very, very strongly through this year.
But the optimism could be short-lived. The next month will prove crucial for many Queensland farmers trying to get their autumn and winter crops sown in time.
That's your big issue in Queensland, is how long this wet stays before those farmers can get on the ground, get their ground ready and plant. Because then you start all your winter tomatoes that start in May all the way through to December come from the north. So you've got a lot of that. You've got all your capsicums, cucumbers, all your root lines that can't get on the ground to plant. You're going to have big trouble.
Tanya Nolan with that report.